You're a winner at WagerTalk even before the game is played with our Wager Rewards program. How does it work? Simple. Earn wager rewards on every purchase made at WagerTalk and Sports Memo. Those wager rewards can be converted into wager bucks on the first of every month. There is no additional fee to participate, and no additional details are required outside your valid WagerTalk or Sports Memo membership. On the first of each month, 5% of your wager rewards will be converted to wager bucks, which are available to purchase on all future purchases. Doesn't it feel good to be part of a rewards program with no additional hoops?
Hey guys, welcome in and a very, happy, I don't even know what day it is. I'm going to be completely honest at this point in the season. The shit has hit the fan, people, but I think we're somewhere around week 4 of the college football season and week 3 of the NFL season. But we got a couple of games tonight. We got a couple of games tomorrow on a college slate and then a monster weekend of football. We've got 3 games here, 3 intriguing matchups here to break down for you, and we'll do it with 3 of the best as we welcome in Adam Trigger hanging out here today, and somebody let him out. Look at it, he's in a brick wall and everything. Drew Martin hanging out here, and of course, Mr. Mejia, Tony Mejia, pleasure to have you back here for a week of 4. Let me ask you, Mejia, what is going on? I know you're also getting ready for, it's hard to believe, NBA, college hoops will be here, NFL. I know your videos, your ratchet plays are up. Those are always great. And what do you got locked and loaded at Wager Talk for us?
Locked and loaded right now, already kicked off, was UEFA Nations League. So I had to put a pause into everything that I was doing and look at that because I do follow international soccer play, get ready for World Cup, and those are big tune-ups. But obviously, all eyes on the pigskin. College football has been great so far this year. 2-1 on 5% plays, and the one that got away was that Baylor BYU game where Baylor missed an extra point and lost in overtime. And number 1 in totals so far this season. A couple of sides have gotten away that have really stuck in my craw, but we'll continue to push forward. NFL has gotten off to a slow start. MLB's been great with 4% plays, so full smorgasbord of plays, and I can't believe I used that word, but I did. And just looking forward to a huge, fall and winter with all the sports coming together.
Yep, no, it is. It's about to. You think now is crazy, guys? Give it a couple of weeks, Drew Martin. My goodness, the shit will hit the fan, man. But in the meantime, plenty of tickets to cash here, and I know you're locked and loaded, card ready to go into week 4. What's going on at Wager Talk?
Sure, Joe. I love the intro, man. What day is it? I feel your pain there. Or it's actually a good thing. We're already in week 4 of college football. I mean, 1/3 of the regular season almost over. It kind of sneaks up on you. I'll tell you this, though, Joe. Looks like you're in the studio. I got my studio going. We got Tony there doing a little revamp of his house with the ladder in the background.
Construction.
And yeah, exactly. Trig in a little Ukrainian basement doing all he can do to help Ukraine. Good to see it happening, guys. Joe, excited to break down the games with you. And I actually got a 4% up, a best bet for tonight's action. West Virginia and Virginia Tech. Got a good angle I'm playing. So, guys, go check that out, wagertalk.com. Off of a good weekend. Looking to make some money this weekend as well, Joe. So thanks for having me.
Don't forget, guys, too, make sure you're checking out Drew's videos, Under the Radar. Great stuff. A lot of you guys have already checked it out on our YouTube channel, but do yourself a favor, download the new Wager Talk app if you haven't done so on your iPhone, on your Android, on your smart TV, on demand, people. That's the world we live in, and you'll never have to worry about missing an episode of any of these videos. The content is amazing. Under the Radar, make sure you check it out with Drew if you haven't done so. And Mr. Adam Trigger, there's got to be some sort of triple underdog, somebody getting 120 points somewhere along the line. You're backing on the money line this week. I know it. What's going on, Trig? What do you got locked and loaded for us?
Yeah, I've got a bunch of college football up. Actually, one of them is a big underdog. And it's a 4% play I gave out for free, so I'll just throw it out there at the top of the show. It's Kansas State plus 13. Woo! I'm hoping that's the big underdog winner. But I have other college football plays, including my first 5%er of the season in college football. NFL's been great, 5-2 through the first 2 weeks. And then baseball, 50%, I think 49.35% bankroll increase so far this year. So MLB's been great. KBO, 6-1 in my last 7. I'm on my way to another winning season there. So it's going good, Joe. And I have a Major League Baseball play up for tonight on my page. And I actually gave the NFL one out for free as well. Going to get yelled at by Johnny Detroit for giving all these client plays out for free. But that's the Cleveland Browns -4. So there's 2 4%ers at the top of the show, Joe. What else do they want? I don't know. Like that's, but yeah, it's going good.
The guy is just he's throwing everything out at us here right now. We love it, man. Bust out the number 2 pencil, sharpen that shit up, get the pad, and let's go here, guys. Game number 1 we're going to be breaking down here is none other than A&M. That is right, Texas A&M number 30, Robert, thank you. Texas A&M is going to try to build off of that Miami debacle there. Can you tell who I was on? -2 there, and of course the Hogs here continuing to roll. 48.5, interesting number. A&M, this was kind of like a pick 'em though. A&M getting a little bit of love in the marketplace. So Mejia, kick us off here with this big SEC battle. Is Arkansas as good as we think, and is A&M as as bad as some people think?
What didn't you like about the Miami game? The fact you outgained them 392 to 264 and lost, and there was a muff punt and a missed field goal.
Yeah, no, appreciate
all
that
that
really.
stuff.
Thanks
Look,
for bringing it up again.
I mean, what we've seen out of A&M is really mediocre. So I don't, begrudge the public for being on the Arkansas side here. Arkansas has a nice history of covering against the Aggies in this series. They're 11-4 under Sam Pittman as a dog. They won last year as a 4.5-point dog in this matchup, and they've covered the last 4, like I mentioned, and that's with different coaches. So Sam Pittman's covered. Chad Morris, who was an abomination in Fayetteville, he managed to hang around with Texas A&M. Brett Bielema before he left it, so as well, lost in overtime. So, from that standpoint, I think Arkansas can certainly play with Texas A&M, even though Texas A&M was the more hyped team coming in. And I have, I guess, a bit of a bias against Max Johnson. And again, it's Brad Johnson's kid. I like Brad Johnson as a pro with the Vikings, and he played at FSU. And I'm sure Max is a really nice guy. But does anybody remember the no-look backwards pass that he threw a few years ago in UCLA? It was one of the worst plays I've ever seen, and he should have known better. From that day, I said I can't bet on any team that this guy quarterbacks. And he's had some moments since. He actually beat Texas A&M last year in one of his final throws with LSU on a fantastic throw, and now he beat him and now joins them. So I don't know why he couldn't beat out Haynes King at the beginning of the year. I think he's an upgrade from what we saw from King and what we saw from Johnson, even against Miami, even though they struggled. But I'm on the Arkansas side here. I think Jefferson's mobility gives them an edge. I think we were supposed to see Texas A&M really beat teams up front, and we haven't seen it. Arkansas has the worst pass defense in the country right now, giving up over 350 yards per game. But I don't know that Texas A&M has the personnel to take advantage of it. Certainly nothing we've seen would illustrate that. And the Hogs are leading the FBS in sacks and are allowing 2.5 yards per carry. So while I like Devin A-Chain, I don't know if they're going to get pushed up front to move the Hogs here. So I'm on the Arkansas side.
Yeah, I guess that's really the question, Drew, when it comes down to it here. Will A&M be able to take advantage of that poor secondary of Arkansas with Max Johnson? They don't seem to run the ball very well either. So Jimbo's got to look to the future and say, is Lane Kiffin Little or Lane Kiffin Light available somewhere in the marketplace? Because it ain't working anymore, Jimbo. What do you think, Drew?
Yeah, I mean, Joe, I kind of agree with Tony. I think the Razorbacks are the side here. Could Max Johnson, like you were pointing towards, take advantage of their secondary? I really don't think he can. I didn't see it last game to show anything that he could against the Miami defense. Tony went over some of the numbers there. To tell you the truth, I thought the Canes could have won that game. They were able to punch it in for touchdowns instead of field goals. I think they would have won. The change at quarterback to Johnson, in my view, makes the Aggies more of an under team when I'm looking to bet him. I feel like he's more of a game manager. He's not going to take as many risks. So therefore, I have him circled to look to bet under. Arkansas isn't necessarily an over team. So if you're looking to bet the total, I would look towards the under of 49 in this one. But really, I like the side more. KJ Jefferson, we get the better quarterback. He's mobile as well. He can make plays with his feet. Plus the fact last year, Arkansas won this game, Joe, 20-10. They out-yarded Texas A&M 448 to 272. That's not even close. So they really dominated in the trenches. I don't think that much has changed. Yes, Texas A&M has a lot of money for NIL. They've done a great job recruiting. However, it's only 1 year in on that. So I don't think enough has changed. And last thing here, Sam Pittman, 10-3 against the spread as a dog. Hey, they're catching 2 here. I'd put that in our pocket. I like the Razorbacks, Joe.
All right, you are liking the Razorbacks, and quite honestly, Drew, I can't really argue with you at that particular point because what do you think here, Trig? Pittman's been pretty good too to backers, has he not at Arkansas? I mean, there's a lot of dudes real happy that he took over there because they've been cashing a lot of tickets here. In fact, pretty good in the first month of the season there, as you can see, since he's been with Arkansas. But do you trust them to get it done against A&M in this spot?
I'm not going to bet against Arkansas here, so I don't disagree with what's been said. But I'm going to look at the total, Joe, and go back to last night on The Hustle, which is on WagerTalk TV, 6 p.m. We have Jay Cornegay on from the Westgate. Brings great info and brought us 4 sharp plays. You can get the other 3 by watching the replay of the show, but one of them was the over in this game, and I happen to agree with that. Listen, Miami moved the ball just fine on A&M. They just couldn't finish drives, and I don't think Arkansas will have that problem. KJ Jefferson is someone that I thought would take a step forward this year, and he has. He's been great. I don't think Arkansas, if you look at some of the yardage that Texas A&M has given up, I don't think Arkansas has a problem getting in the end zone if they can get themselves in similar positions. We talked about the Arkansas, pass defense being suspect, and Johnson, maybe he's an upgrade from King, maybe he's not. I think if King gets another chance, he'll probably be better. But yeah, I don't see A&M not being able to score some points here. So it brings me to the fact that it's 49, and that just seems low to me. I don't think we're going to see a 17-9 type game because I don't think Arkansas is going to allow it. I think if they're moving the ball, they're going to score. And the A&M offense probably isn't quite as bad as it's looked the past 2 weeks. In my opinion, they can only improve. The App State game, of course, was what it was, and then last week only scoring 17. So I do think there's some room for improvement on Texas A&M side as far as the point output. And I don't think Arkansas is just going to settle for field goals. So I got to think this one gets to 50 and likely more.
All right. Liking the points in this one here. Don't disagree with that either. I think Jimbo will be able to get it done early offensively against Arkansas. I can't promise what's going to happen in the second half of that game. But we do have a very interesting game coming up as well here. Game number 2 on the show, guys. Oh, my goodness. Notre Dame taking on North Carolina, who's never played defense they like to play, actually. 1.5 is the number coming off a bye. 55.5 in the total, Drew Martin here. 330 is what this is going to be. Drew, who are we kidding? Do we think Notre Dame, backup quarterback, terrible receivers, can they take advantage of this awful North Carolina defense, or probably not?
Tough handicap here, Joe. I mean, this is not 101 level stuff. I mean, you teed it up nicely. The Irish, their offense has really struggled here. Where's the talent? It's kind of been depleted on the offensive side. Injuries as well at the quarterback position. But who are they going up against? UNC. UNC hasn't stopped anybody, guys. I mean, they've played a couple group of 5 teams that have really put up some yardage against them. So I don't want to bet on this UNC defense. And at the same time, UNC, the better offense by a wide margin. They can put up some points offensively. Will they be able to do that against Notre Dame? It depends what Notre Dame defense we get. Remember that Notre Dame defense that held Ohio State pretty stiffly in that first half? If that defense comes out, I could see Notre Dame going on the road and winning outright here. What we can put +2 in our pocket. It's not a game I bet as of right now, Joe. If you
Mhm.
make me bet it, I'll take the better defense, put the points in my pocket. Plus, the Irish have dominated this series, winning 20 of the last 22. I don't like betting against Notre Dame overall. Give me the luck of the Irish, +2.
All right, well, he's going with the Irish to get it done here, and let's be realistic. They're either going to score 1,000,000 points or this is going to be 10-3 here, Tony Mejia, and we're all going to be screaming and yelling at what the hell is this? So it just feels like everyone's going to go left. Maybe we should go right here. What are you going to do?
Yeah, on that note, I won't spoil my best bet for the show right now. But yeah, on that note, I was surprised Notre Dame wasn't favored by more, considering the public perception against North Carolina is you're not going to play defense at all. FAMU, with half their team gone, was able to move the ball against you on your first game. Then Appalachian State scores 40 points in the fourth quarter in a 63-61 win that you pull out. And Georgia State, that game was tight. And now you're facing a team with the best offensive line you've seen. Yeah, the receivers have struggled. Yeah, you're facing a redshirt freshman at quarterback. But, presumably these teams practice, right? Notre Dame's paid to practice, or not paid. Some players are, but they're going to get better. They've got the talent. They're at Notre Dame for a reason. So it's very interesting to me that the Heels are favored in this game. It'll be interesting to see if Pine makes it through the entire game, because if he doesn't, we get to see a true freshman in Steve Angeli as the quarterback, and he's supposed to be ready to play. It's a road game. So from that, as Drew said, this is an extremely tough handicap, except I do like certain things that I'll mention at the end of the show for why I like a certain direction on the total.
So it's interesting here, Trig. Number one, week off, right? Extra week here for North Carolina. Josh Downs looks like he's coming back, one of the preseason best wide receivers in the country. Like they need any more help offensively here. And they're getting a starting offensive and defensive tackle back in the lineup. So the extra week to prep and heal up, it certainly looks good on paper for North Carolina, but can they get it done against Notre Dame?
Yeah, I think they can. Listen, it's not the best spot. I've been betting against North Carolina the past couple weeks. I took a brutal loss with App State. I had the +1.5 in a game where they managed to lose by 2 somehow. Still mad about that one. That's like probably my worst beat of the season. But I had Georgia State +7.5 2 weeks ago, which did get there. I really don't want. Unlike Drew, I don't like betting Notre Dame. I'm happy to bet against this team, Joe. I actually had a 5%er in this game last year. I was on North Carolina, and if I remember correctly, they were driving to backdoor the game, and their drive stalled out at like the 10-yard line, and Notre Dame covered in a game that was pretty close throughout. This could be. Marcus Freeman could get fired if he loses this game, and it keeps going in that direction. And I think he's way outclassed here as far as from a coaching standpoint. So I really don't want to bet against on Notre Dame going on the road. With that being said, the defense for North Carolina is certainly a concern. But man, Drake May and this offense have looked really good, and I just don't like this Notre Dame team, Joe. Yeah. This opened. I believe Notre Dame was a slight dog. Now they're a slight favorite. I'm sorry, North Carolina. And even though that this isn't a team I love because of the defense, I still am far more impressed with what I've seen out of North Carolina than I am out of Notre Dame at this point. I think the coaching edge is on North Carolina. The quarterback edge, without a doubt, is on the side of North Carolina. And I don't know that Notre Dame's offense is good enough to exploit UNC's defensive weaknesses. So, Joe, I would roll with the Heels here. I would just money line it rather than laying the 2. I think North Carolina will find a way at home in this game.
It's crazy when you look at the numbers, because you're right. They got every advantage in the world. They're averaging, 52 points a game. Notre Dame's averaging 18. May is for 930 yards, 11 touchdowns, 1 pick. And yet they're only a point and a half. Should be a fun game. Not one worth betting on as far as I'm concerned, though. Notre Dame, North Carolina, maybe this one we'll get a triple agreement on here, because who doesn't love a little Big Ten football at night, which is what we are going to get. 7:30 at the Shoe at Ohio State welcoming in Wisconsin and Brandon Allen driving that truck. Boy, oh boy, the big question, I guess, here is, does Ohio State's defense have the answer to stop him? And what else you got, Wisconsin? And I guess, Drew, that's really the big question, right? Can you stop the running game and Brandon Allen of Wisconsin? If you can at Ohio State, should be easy, right, Drew?
I would think so, Joe. You know, I went Wisconsin. I bet them last week against New Mexico State, like when they could just roll over their opponent, you know, where they're running those dives, ISOs, in the third, fourth quarter, because they're really talented at doing that. They got some guys that I believe in the trenches are going to be playing on Sundays. I don't know that they're going to be able to push around Ohio State. Definitely not like they were New Mexico State, the Aggies last week. Ohio State, this offense, when it gets clicking, watch out. We've seen it multiple times over the last couple years. Talent all over the field. Speaking of guys that are going to be playing on Sunday and in the horseshoe, we'll maybe look for them to run it up if they can towards the end, you know, punching that late touchdown to cover. Joe, not a game that I bet, but if you made me, I'd be on the Buckeyes here and lay the points.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard. Listen, Jim Knowles, I'm a huge fan there, Tony Mejia. You know, that Oklahoma State defense coordinator that, you know, you plucked away over there, Ohio State. However, so far so good on the early returns. Much better defense than what we witnessed last year. The offense came alive, although against Toledo, I'm fairly certain we could probably move the ball against them. But what do you think here? Do you trust Ohio State's defense from what you've seen now to be able to handle the ground and pound Wisconsin game and limit Mertz to basically nothing?
Yeah, Toledo's been disappointing because they're supposed to be the class of the MAC. But yeah,
Yes.
from what I've seen out of Ohio State's defense, they're fast and they've got dudes. So I want to see them prove it against Wisconsin by absolutely annihilating this team. My look-ahead line for this game was 23. So I was surprised when it opened at 17.5, and I'm not surprised that looking at the WagerTalk odds screen, 77% of the tickets are on Ohio State, 90% of the money. All the public money is on the Buckeyes. Buckeyes at night? I mean, really? And Graham Mertz, highest-rated recruit in Wisconsin history, his best win has been against Iowa last season.
Right.
So he really hasn't gotten it done. Really been disappointing. Their receivers, not very good this season. I do like Chaz Malusi and Braylon Allen, their running backs, but I want to see them get it done against a real defense because they haven't played one. Washington State stood up to them and pulled off an upset. I mean, rolling over New Mexico State, as Drew said, not very impressive. I mean, of course you like to see it. That's playing, you know, a Minnie Mouse team. So from that standpoint, who has Wisconsin played that can prepare them for this challenge on the road? And they just haven't looked good to me. So Ohio State, you know what you're going to get from them offensively. You know, the numbers are what the numbers are. Like they rolled up 763 yards last week, 77 points. They're averaging nearly 48 points a game. And this is what they've done, despite the fact that they've lost great talent to the NFL and receivers. They just recycle those guys. C.J. Stroud looks like the real deal. So, you know, winning 8 straight. This isn't even the Wisconsin team that they saw last. Last time they played was the 2019 Big Ten title game. Ohio State trails at the half, rolls off 27 unanswered points, and wins 34-21. That might have killed Wisconsin because what we've seen from Wisconsin in the COVID-shortened year, they struggled 4-3. Last year they were 9-4, kind of mediocre for their level on the field if you eyeballs wise. And this year they've already lost to Washington State. So is this a program on the decline? Is Paul Chryst on the decline? I think so. I would be Ohio State or nothing.
It's an interesting matchup here, Trig, because when I think of Wisconsin, I think of running and I think of great defense. I mean, what Jim Leonard's done there, that they haven't given up an awful lot either. I mean, we don't want to discount what that defense brings to the table in a Big Ten matchup on the road, the hated Ohio State Buckeyes. The first half, when we looked at it yesterday, 30 and a half points. It feels like could we get a defensive battle here early on in this game where things open up late, or do you think it's just going to be all one-sided here?
I don't have a real great beat on the total here, Joe, but I have an opinion on the side, and I guess I'll start with this. Wisconsin, they're rarely a double-digit dog in conference play, but the last 7 times they've been a double-digit underdog in Big Ten play, they've only covered one of those. So they don't function well in this role, and I wouldn't be betting on them to do that here. Listen, there's one team that I don't – you know, Joe, it's not my style to lay a huge number like this. There's one team I've consistently done it with over the last couple seasons, and with the exception of the Notre Dame game and the opener of this year, I've had a ton of success just laying it with the Buckeyes in these Big Ten games that are like billed as a good game, but really you just know Ohio State's going to run them out. Now, this game, the number's a little bit high for me at like 19, but I certainly wouldn't take Wisconsin here because I could only see it getting ugly at some point. And if Wisconsin does cover this game, I have a feeling they're going to do so by winning the game by but it's going to be a 2-touchdown type game where they just get under the number. I've heard the argument that Wisconsin's defense could keep them in this game. But what I could almost see happening even more so is Wisconsin's offense putting their defense in a bad position with turnover that helps this game get out of hand as well. Because Wisconsin has been turnover prone. And as Tony was saying, there's studs on this Ohio State defense that make plays. And I certainly would not be shocked if Wisconsin turned it over a few times, which would allow this game to get out of hand. So there's just more scenarios here where I see it getting ugly than, let's say, somehow Wisconsin staying in this game. The number's high, so it's probably not going to make my card, but I lean with the other guys. It's Buckeyes or nothing here for me, Joe.
Buckeyes or nothing. I mean, Brandon Allen's the kind of running back that would have gashed this defense last year. What a difference a year makes with Ohio State and Jim Knowles. So that's not like a little Big Ten at night there, 7:30 rather, Eastern time on Saturday for Wisconsin, Ohio State. And now it is the moment of truth here. Try to figure out which one of these games coming up these guys might like a little bit more than the rest. So Mejia, kick us off here, my man. Tell me which game here are you circling and looking at?
Well, I hinted at it earlier, and it's Notre Dame, North Carolina, and I like the over. And I'll tell you why. Even though Marcus Freeman is a defensive coach, is this Notre Dame defense better than the one last season that gave up, 16 points to USC, and most of its schedule was able to dominate? Based on what we've seen and who they've struggled against, absolutely not. And so I think Drake May is going to have a big night, a big day. Josh Downs, getting him back is invaluable considering that the other guys have really picked up the slack without him. And it's a young offense that's making plays. And while I think Gene Chizik is going to get the North Carolina defense turned around, he inherited a really young group. So if there's anybody that Drew Pine is going to get a rhythm against as he gets some practice reps under him and isn't just thrown into the fire, it's going to be a North Carolina defense that has really struggled. Tony Grimes is their best corner of a really bad secondary, and he came into the season really banged up. So I don't think he's 100%. I think, and what was last year's score? 44-34 against what I mentioned was a very good Notre Dame defense. I don't think this Notre Dame defense is anywhere near that. I think we see not necessarily a shootout, but certainly a competitive game that gets over the 55.5, 56.
All right, good stuff there, guys. Notre Dame, North Carolina, up and over the total there for Tony Mejia. Drew Martin, talk to us here. I know you got a couple of bets here. One tonight, in fact, in that West Virginia battle. What else you got going on? And give us that game you're looking at.
Yeah, Joe. Got a big one tonight. 4% best bet. West Virginia, Virginia Tech. Also got a three up and available for Saturday. Going to be in with a couple more this afternoon. So check it out. Drew Martin page, WagerTalk.com. Guys, college football, NFL. Going to be out here soon as well. So off a profitable weekend, looking to do it again this week, guys. Hearing Tony Mejia bring out Gene Chizik, former national champion head coach. They got a couple national champion head coaches there on the UNC. I like that stat, Tony. But for my best bet here, Joe, I'm going to the Arkansas Razorbacks. Talked about it earlier. +2, put it in your pocket, guys. Better quarterback, KJ Jefferson. Last year won 20-10. Out-yarded him by over 150 yards. Sam Pittman, 10-3 against the spread as a dog. He's been cashing tickets there for Arkansas. does it again. I think they win outright, but for the insurance, Joe, putting the 2 in my pocket. Let's go Razorbacks.
All right, let's go Razorbacks here. Don't forget, guys, head over to Drew's page as well as Tony Mejia's at WagerTalk.com. Go get those best bets. You heard Drew locked and loaded here tonight. Also, keep an eye out for Drew's Under the Radar videos. Those you can find over at YouTube or download the app. And you can, of course, on the app, check out Adam Trigger and all his picks on all the shows all week long. But, Trig, lay it out for us here, man. There's got to be a dog somewhere in here you're barking with.
Well, guys, real quick, I've got a 5% play that goes this weekend, first one in college football this year. I'm trying to give out at least one client play in football a week, and the way it worked out this week, I gave out 2. And I gave them at the top of the show, Kansas State plus 13, Cleveland Browns -4, both 4% plays. As far as the best bet for this show, I'm going with the over. Texas A&M, Arkansas. Any way you slice this game, I just see it ending up with more than 50 points. The yardage against Texas A&M has been there. Teams just haven't finished their drives. That's not going to be a problem for Arkansas, who has KJ Jefferson, who's just been a stud, taking a step forward this year. And if Arkansas gets down where Miami was, they're not going to be settling for 3. They're going to get 7 in a lot of those situations. I'm willing to buy low on the Texas A&M offense, which has been abysmal, but is a little bit better with Max Johnson at quarterback. And I do think if it ends up being Haynes King back in there at some point, I feel like he's going to be, going to play better after getting benched. Players do that from time to time, and I think that would happen here. Arkansas will give up passing yards, so I do think Texas A&M is going to be able to move the ball. And you're really not asking much, right? The total's 48.5, 49. So if we get to 50 here, we're good. And I just don't see a scenario where either team is held below 20. I think there's more scoring than expected in this game. I like the fact that there's a little sharp money to the over. So I'll go with the points in this game, or some points in this game, Joe. Give me the over 48.5, 49, whatever it is right now is my best bet for the show.
Oh, boom. All right. Love it on the first half over as well. Trig 23.5, but he's going full game, guys. Get her done. Arkansas A&M over 48.5. Expect some points here, certainly from Arkansas. I don't know what that team total is, but we should probably look at that as well. While Drew Martin locked and loaded tonight, big 4% play at West Virginia. He's looking at Arkansas as well to pretty much, I guess, give Jimbo one more step out the door there. While Tony Mejia going Notre Dame, UNC. Talk about points. Notre Dame, what do you think? UNC going to score 53 of those, 55.5? Up and over the total in that one as well, guys. Drew is ready, and you heard Adam just tell you 5% best bet, locked and loaded. Mejia ready to go across the sports betting landscape. All available now, guys, but do yourself the biggest favor here moving forward. Get the 3-day, 7-day, 30-day all-access packages. You don't have to be late to the line. You don't have to be late to the play. Get notified immediately as soon as they are posted. They play them, you play them. That's how it works, guys. Those 3-day, 7-day, 30-day all-access packages are the way to go. All right, hit that bell in the upper right-hand corner on YouTube. Make plans to stop back again tomorrow. We got one more round of games to preview as we get ready for the weekend. Week 4 college football is here. On behalf of Adam Trigger, Drew Martin, Tony Mejia, guys, we appreciate the time. Best of luck with your plays tonight. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Good luck.
Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.